The night had already promised to be special, but nobody could have imagined just how emotional it would become. Toronto was ready. Thousands upon thousands of army had gathered with one shared excitement, carrying light sticks, wearing BTS-inspired outfits, holding handmade banners, and patiently waiting for the moment the stage would finally come alive. The atmosphere inside the stadium was electric. Everywhere you looked, there were purple lights, excited faces, and fans talking about the performances they had been waiting for. Then the sky began to change. Dark clouds slowly covered Toronto, and what had initially looked like an ordinary change in weather quickly turned into something much more dramatic. Rain began falling over the stadium. At first, it was light. Some fans smiled. Others raised their phones toward the sky. There was still an atmosphere of anticipation because everyone believed the rain might pass. But the rain did not stop. Instead, it became heavier. Within a short time, the stadium was surrounded by the sound of rainfall. The ground became wet, umbrellas appeared throughout the crowd, and fans began protecting their phones and belongings from the downpour. Yet, remarkably, the excitement did not disappear. If anything, the rain seemed to make the moment even more meaningful, because this was not simply another concert night. This was a night Toronto and Army would remember. The anticipation became stronger as fans waited for Jimin and BTS to appear. There was something almost cinematic about the entire scene. Thousands of people standing together beneath a rainy Toronto sky, waiting for the same artists, refusing to let the weather destroy the atmosphere they had created. The rain became part of the story. And when the lights began to change, the entire stadium seemed to hold its breath. The moment BTS appeared, the reaction from the crowd was overwhelming. Cheers erupted through the stadium. Fans screamed. Light sticks moved through the darkness like a sea of purple stars. And somewhere between the rain falling from the sky and the lights illuminating the stage, the concert transformed into something far more emotional than anyone had expected. Jimin immediately became one of the central figures of the night. There has always been something distinctive about Jimin's presence on stage. His movements can be powerful without losing elegance, while his expressions allow audiences to feel the emotion behind the performance. But performing while rain surrounds the stadium creates an entirely different atmosphere. Every movement appears more dramatic. Every spotlight reflects differently. Every moment feels more precious. And for Army, watching Jimin perform under such conditions became an experience that was difficult to describe with ordinary words. The rain continued falling. But Jimin and BTS continued giving everything they had. That was perhaps the most touching part of the night. The weather could change the appearance of the concert, but it could not change the connection between the artists and the audience. The crowd remained engaged. Fans continued singing. The purple lights continued shining. And the sound of thousands of voices became even more powerful against the background of the rain. There was something beautiful about seeing Army refusing to give up on the night. They had traveled. They had waited, they had prepared. And now they were standing together in the rain, watching BTS create memories right in front of them. For many fans, this was not about having perfect weather. It was about being there. It was about experiencing the moment together. And that is exactly what made the night so unforgettable. When Jimin appeared on stage, the reaction from the audience became especially intense. Fans had waited to see him. Some had traveled long distances. Some had spent months preparing for the concert. Others had dreamed about seeing BTS live for years. And suddenly, Jimin was standing in front of them. The rain made the scene even more emotional. The stage lights reflected against the wet surroundings, while the audience responded with an enormous wave of energy. Jimin's performance seemed to become a conversation between the stage and the crowd. He performed. Army responded. He moved. The crowd screamed. He looked toward the audience. Thousands of voices answered. It was a connection that did not require translation. Music had already created the language. The rain simply became another part of the atmosphere. There are concerts people remember because everything went perfectly. And then there are concerts people remember because something unexpected happened and everyone experienced it together. Toronto's rainy night felt like the second kind. The unexpected weather did not erase the excitement. Instead, it gave the night an identity. Years later, fans might not remember every exact second of the performance, but they could remember standing beneath the Toronto sky. They could remember the rain. They could remember the purple lights. They could remember hearing thousands of people singing together. And most importantly, they could remember seeing Jimin and BTS continue to perform despite the difficult weather. That emotional connection is what makes live music so powerful. A concert is never just about the songs. It is about the memories created around those songs. It is about who you were standing beside. It is about the atmosphere. It is about the unexpected moments. And on this Toronto night, the rain became one of those unforgettable memories. For ARMY, the rain almost felt symbolic. It represented the unpredictable nature of a live concert. Nobody could control the weather. Nobody could stop the clouds from arriving. Nobody could tell the sky to wait until the final performance was over. But despite all of that, the concert continued to carry its emotional power. The audience had come for BTS, and BTS gave the audience a night worth remembering. Jimin's performance became particularly memorable because his stage presence seemed to contrast beautifully with the stormy surroundings. The sky was dark, the rain was falling, but the stage was alive. Lights moved across the venue, music filled the air, and thousands of ARMY continued to celebrate. It created a visual that could easily belong in a movie. A massive stadium, a dark Toronto sky, rain falling across the crowd, purple lights glowing everywhere, and Jimin and BTS standing at the center of it all. For fans watching from the audience, the experience must have felt almost surreal. One moment they were simply waiting for the show. The next, they were living through a concert night unlike anything they had imagined. Social media would inevitably become part of the story as fans shared their reactions, photographs, short clips, and emotional messages. The phrase that seemed to capture the atmosphere was simple. The rain could not stop ARMY, and it certainly could not erase the magic of BTS. What made the situation even more touching was the mutual dedication between the performers and the audience. Fans stayed, the artists performed, everyone understood that the night was different. And sometimes those differences are exactly what make memories stronger. Imagine returning home after the concert. Your clothes are wet. Your shoes are covered in water. Your phone may have been carefully protected throughout the night. You are exhausted. Your voice may be nearly gone from singing. But then you look at the photographs. You see the rain. You see the stadium. You see the purple lights. You remember Jimin on stage. And suddenly, every inconvenience feels worth it. That is the kind of memory fans treasure. Not because it was comfortable, but because it was real. The Toronto rain did not create the connection between BTS and ARMY. That connection already existed. The rain simply revealed how strong it could be. Even under difficult conditions, the audience remained emotionally connected to the performers. And the performers continued to deliver a show designed to bring people together. That is why this night became more than a concert. It became a shared experience. One stadium, one audience, one group, and one unforgettable night beneath the rain. Jimin's ability to command attention on stage was another major part of the evening. Whether he was delivering powerful choreography, interacting with the crowd, or simply standing beneath the stage lights, his presence naturally drew attention. There is a particular quality to Jimin's performances that combines precision and emotion. His dance movements are carefully controlled, yet they never feel mechanical. His expressions can change within seconds. A smile can turn into intensity. A playful moment can suddenly become deeply emotional. And in a concert setting, those details become even more powerful because fans are experiencing them in real time. The rain added another layer. Every spotlight seemed to emphasize the atmosphere. The wet environment created reflections that made the stage appear even more dramatic. For photographers and fans capturing the moment, it was the kind of setting that could produce unforgettable images. But for the people inside the stadium, the experience was not about taking the perfect photograph. It was about living through the moment. There was also something powerful about the audience continuing to sing. Even when the rain became heavy, the sound of ARMY did not disappear. Instead, the voices seemed to rise together. Thousands of people singing BTS songs beneath the Toronto rain created an atmosphere that was difficult to replicate. The stadium itself seemed alive. And for BTS, hearing that response must have made the moment even more meaningful. A performer can feel the energy of an audience. That energy can change the way a concert feels. A quiet crowd creates one atmosphere, an excited crowd creates another. But a crowd that remains passionate despite unexpected rain creates something entirely different. It tells the artists, we are still here. We still want to be with you. We are not letting this moment disappear. That message was written across the stadium that night. And Jimin, along with the other members of BTS, became the center of that shared emotional experience. For longtime ARMY, moments like this can carry special significance. BTS concerts are not simply performances watched by fans. They are gatherings where people who may never have met before suddenly feel connected. Someone from one city can stand beside someone from another country. They may not speak the same language. They may have completely different lives. But when the music begins, they know the same words. They recognize the same choreography. They understand the same references. And they celebrate the same artists. Toronto became another example of that powerful global community. The rain did not divide the audience. It brought everyone into the same experience. Umbrellas appeared side by side. Raincoats moved through the crowd. Phones were protected. But the excitement remained. And when the music played, everyone returned their attention to the stage. There was no need for perfect conditions. There was only the desire to be part of the moment. For Jimin, the night also highlighted why he has become such a compelling performer. His stage presence is not dependent solely on elaborate production. Even in challenging circumstances, the focus naturally returns to the performer, his movements, his voice, his expressions, his connection with the audience. That is what makes a stage performance memorable. And Toronto provided the perfect backdrop for that kind of performance. The rain created unpredictability. Jimin brought emotion. BTS brought energy. ARMY brought passion. Together, they created something that could not have been planned completely in advance. That is the beauty of live performance. Not everything can be controlled. Sometimes the most memorable moments happen because reality interrupts the plan. A sudden rainstorm, a spontaneous reaction, a surprising interaction, a crowd singing louder than expected. These moments become stories, and Toronto now had its story. The story of a rainy night when BTS and ARMY refused to let the weather steal their happiness. As the concert continued, the atmosphere seemed to become more emotional.